We had quite a spooky episode of Bleach today, guys, because the zombies are here. That's right, guys. The zombies are here to play, and I'm here for it. When I told you guys a while ago that Giselle had a crazy power, I wasn't joking. And we're going to see it on full display these next couple weeks. Especially with how our episode today ends, we're in for a little treat next week. We also get to see our boy Mayuri just be the mad scientist we know he is. As he says, oh, you got zombies? Hold my beer. 2 can play at the zombie game. It's a fun episode, so let's just get straight into it and talk about Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, episode 9 today. So our episode begins immediately where our last one left off, with Uryu and Yhwach escaping to the Soul Palace as their departure creates a giant vortex of wind that sends the Serite into shambles, and everyone has to guard against it. And as we transition to Shunsui, he says, why aren't they shooting them down? Are they just gonna let them into the royal palace? Is this also part of your plan, Monaco Osho? And let's just say Squad Zero has their own plan in mind to deal with Yhwach. And it's here as we transition back to Ichigo. We see that he is down in the dumps right now about what happened with Uryu. As Chad tells him, Ichigo, we're just as shocked as you are. But this is Ishida, Uryu we're talking about. He must have had a very good reason to join their side and betray us and stab us in the back. As Ichigo tells him, I know. I knew it all along. And as we get flashbacks to their time together, Ichigo says, because he's our friend. As Chad tells him, in that case, we know what we have to do. And right on cue, our boy Kisuke shows up with a solution. As he says, so what now? Shall I book you a ticket to the royal palace? As Ichigo tells him, please do. Hey, and I'm just saying, guys, if anyone was to have like a little secret backdoor entrance to the royal palace, it'd definitely be Kisuke. Come on now. And it's here as we transition to our next scene and we go across the battlefield. Our fighting isn't over yet. Let's just say there's still plenty of Quincy's around. And the will to fight has not left the Soul Reapers yet. As Renji asks Rukia, did you feel that? And she says, yes. Then says, why, Uryu, did you betray us? You gotta remember, this is news to everyone here. No one knew that Uryu was a part of the other team until last week. As Baz B shows up and says, you guys are pissed at Uryu too, huh? If you want, I can give you a hand to go and kill him. As Renji tells him, alright, look, stop talking nonsense, chicken head. We're not killing him. As Baz B gets heated, saying, you're not talking about this awesome razor-sharp mohawk of mine, are you? As Renji's just like, what? You don't like chickens? They get up early and lay eggs. They're awesome. As Baz B's just like, okay, you're dead. I thought you'd have some taste because of those cool razor-sharp eyebrows of yours. But I guess I was wrong. As we see Renji's finally found a kindred soul, guys. And as we transition to our next scene, we just hear Giselle say, whoa, guys, you're not thinking of cutting down an unarmed girl, are ya? I mean, doesn't that go against your code as a man? A very funny thing to say, with what we find out later in our episode. As Umichika is just like, she's baiting us. She's a Twitter troll. The fact she's goading you to cut her so much means there's something about the act of cutting her itself. Getting sprayed with her blood could be dangerous. Our boy's figuring it out. As Umichika goes in for the kill and says, while I'm at it, let me expose some more of your monkey business. You said something about being an unarmed girl, but you're a guy, aren't you? And upon hearing that, let's just say, things get a little spooky. As we see Bambi come and attack them, actually. As Giselle says, sorry to keep you waiting, Bambi. Let's crush these guys. As we see, Bambi looks a little off. But as we transition to our next scene and we see Kisuke is hard at work to get Ichigo to the royal palace, we hear, all the captains and lieutenants are still battling the Quincy's, so that you can get to the royal palace, Kurosaki. So hop on in. As we see, Kisuke was able to build a replica of Kukaku's cannon from really early Bleach, when they were getting shot into the Soul Society to save Rukia. As Kisuke says, it was built around the time Squad Zero descended for the first time. Captain Kurasuchi foresaw the outcome and started building the base structure for it. By the time I got here, all that was left was putting on the finishing touches. As Ichigo literally says, I thought Mayuri was a nut job. As Kisuke says, Captain Kurasuchi is a genius. Second only to me, of course. And it's here Kisuke starts explaining to them that, the Shiba family's cannon is one of a kind, built using their family secret and can't be easily replicated. So, our cannon's gonna break down after firing one shot. We just gotta make sure we don't fail on that one try. Easy peasy. The problem is that we don't have sufficient energy to fire it. And it's here, right on cue, Akon comes in and says, the guest you asked for is here. As we see Yoruichi making her first appearance in the 1,000-Year Blood War. Crazy. And she came bearing gifts. As she says, these are the distortions that the Quincy's have been creating. And it's here Kisuke starts explaining to them that we began seeing these shortly before the Wundenreich started their invasion. As we see Hiyori and the rest of the Visors, and we see that this is the job that they were given in the world of the living. As Kisuke says, the distortion is acting like a wedge. It's disrupted the border between the world of the living and the Soul Society, causing the two worlds to connect. As Ichigo says, what purpose does that serve? And Kisuke says, we're still trying to figure that out. What we should be focusing on now is that this distortion is a massive concentration of energy, powerful enough to connect the two worlds, meaning it's the perfect energy source to fire the cannon. As Kisuke tells them all, get ready for a trip to the royal palace, baby. And as we transition back to Ikkaku and Umichika, we see Bambi's giving them a little bit of trouble right here. As we see that with teamwork, Ikkaku's able to run her through the throat with his spear. But it does nothing, as Umichika actually has to cut her arm off to save Ikkaku right here. As we hear, are you guys stupid? Nothing you do is gonna hurt her, because Bambi's already dead. As Bambi explodes both of them here. As Giselle says, it wasn't easy, turning Bambi into a zombie. I can't do it to Quincy's unless they're dead. So I had to squeeze the life out of her myself. The look on Bambi's face, it got me all excited. As Umichika's like, you sick pervert. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, that's accurate. And then she adds, on the other hand, it's much easier with a Soul Reaper. If you aren't dead, simply splashing you with my blood turns you right into a zombie. But it's here, as if a shining star descended down. We just hear, the ability to turn an enemy into a zombie, huh? Now that's extremely interesting, as our boy Mayuri shows up. As Giselle tells him, I can barely see you right now, it's too bright. As Mayuri just tells her, don't you know great people often appear to be shining? As we get our cool-ass title card for the week, baby, marching out the zombies. And it's here as Bambi joins her on the front lines. We get a very interesting scene as she tells Giselle, I want it, Gigi. I can't take it anymore. I want it so bad. As we see, she hits Bambi and says, damn, you're such an insatiable girl, aren't you, Bambi? You'll get your treat when it's all over. You got it? And yes, I know, out of context, this scene's pretty damn wild. But if you really sit and think about it, this scene is fucked up. It's really abusive, and it's kind of unnerving. As Mayuri, watching it all, says, wow, what you have going there is outstanding. As Giselle tells him, you're not shining anymore. And he tells her, I toned down my greatness so that even an ordinary person like you can see me. Because compared to me, everyone is ordinary. As Giselle orders Bambi to attack him right here. But that isn't going to stop Mayuri as him and Nemu jump away, and he tells her, Nemu, prepare it. As she asks, what should I set it for? And he tells her, 3 seconds ought to do it. And as Bambi attacks again, we see Mayuri's creation at work as they catch the explosions and explode them back at them. As Giselle, using Bambi as a shield, says, what just happened? And it's here our boy is happy to explain as he says, oh, it's extremely simple. This is called a reishi locking device. It halts the activity of reishi that it comes in contact with for a preset amount of time. As he says, Bambi's ability turned them into bombs, but the device simply paused the effect of it for 3 seconds. Meaning he delayed them turning into bombs for 3 seconds. It's an extremely simple mechanism. And with this simple mechanism, I completely subdued that zombie girl's attack. Now the two of you can become my lovely test subjects. And I don't know about you guys, I'd rather die than be a test subject for Mayuri. Fuck that! As Giselle says, the two of us, huh? Which two are you referring to? As she brought back the Soul Reapers that have died. As she tells them, I've been creating zombies from the moment I got here. As Mayuri's just like, my oh my, this is the problem. They may be zombies, but they were members of the 13 Court Guard Squad. And I'm basically a big ball of love with a spinal cord growing from it. What to do? As he says, I know, I'll need someone with no attachments. Like these Iran cars to take care of the fight. As that's right guys, we get the appearance of some Iran cars again. As we see Ikaku and Umichika have personal history with two of them. Especially Umichika, or should I call him Fugly. And it's here Mayuri shocks all of them and says, who gave you permission to yap away? As he adds, not only are they durable, but they scream with such vigor. It was well worth it stealing you from Zaya Laporo's vault. As Giselle's like, I see you got yourself your own zombies. It's a zombie off. You think you can beat my zombies with just your 4 zombies? And it's here as their fight begins. They easily make light work of these no-name Soul Reapers. As we hear, there's no need to avoid her blood. That Baldy was splashed with blood earlier, but he didn't become a zombie. Take note, guys. And as they're eviscerating the Soul Reapers, Giselle's just like, damn, this turned into a real mess, huh? As our most flamboyant Arankar approaches her and says, my instincts are telling me I should fight you. Because you and I are very much alike. And Giselle gets heated hearing that. It's not wrong, though. That's all I'll say on the matter. And as she sicks Bambi on him, he grabs her face and says, I don't need to draw my sword to deal with a baby like you. As he sends her flying, and Mayuri says, too bad you couldn't hit me with that, huh? And he's just like, no, my hand slipped, sorry. And as Bambi charges back at him, he fires his love ray at her. Or should I say, beautiful Charlie Horn's final holy, wonderful, pretty, super magnum, sexy, glamorous Sarah revived. And sends her flying like she's Team Rocket out here. As Giselle is like, looks like Bambi's no match for him. Which, power scaling wise, kind of doesn't make sense, frankly, but we'll leave it at that. As she says, "You can come out now, Mr. Captain." As we see, in a shocking turn of events, she has Hitsugaya under her control. Things are about to get kind of wild next week as our episode ends. And you know, guys, I've always found her ability pretty interesting. You would think with how strong it is, the other Quincy's would kind of like have her in the back to be more support because her ability is so powerful. With it, literally none of them can die. So as long as she's protected, like, they have an unlimited amount of people to fight. You would think they protect her more, but that's not how the Quincy's roll, I guess. But Giselle's ability is very strong. And yes, I will confirm with you guys that she is biologically a man. But going forward, I'm going to keep saying she, just because it's easier, okay? Just saying now. But technically, she is a man. Bleach has been loving doing stuff like that. But man, what an interesting episode today, guys. I can't wait till next week when things get even wilder. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode down in the comments. But until next time, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces.